They were nurses, pilots, civilians, wives and daughters. When war came, they didn't pick up rifles, but they were captured just the same. Behind barbed wire and locked gates, their courage became their weapon. This is the untold story of the women who endured imprisonment during World War II, the forgotten warriors. When the war spread across Europe and the Pacific, no one was safe. In 1942, as Japan advanced through the Philippines, British Malaya, and the Dutch East Indies, thousands of nurses and civilians were caught in the chaos. Many were captured after refusing to abandon their patients. Women like the U.S. Army and Navy nurses stationed at Bataan and Corregidor. These women were forced to march with soldiers through the jungle, hungry, sick, and terrified. Some were taken to camps in the Philippines, like Santo Tomas and Los Baños, turned into prisons almost overnight. The Geneva Convention offered them no protection. They were treated as hostages, laborers, and propaganda tools. Life in captivity was brutal. Food was scarce, a few ounces of rice a day, sometimes spoiled. Water was rationed. Disease spread quickly. Dysentery, malaria, beriberi. Yet somehow they adapted. In the Philippines, 77 American nurses, later called the Angels of Bataan, created makeshift hospitals inside the prison camps. With almost no medicine, they treated both prisoners and their captors. They used mosquito netting for bandages, condensed milk cans as surgical tools. The women kept journals in secret, documenting hunger, fear, and small acts of kindness. They taught children, they sang hymns, they celebrated Christmas with scraps of cloth and carved toys. In a world built on cruelty, they built hope. Across Europe, other women faced the same fate. British and French resistance fighters were captured and sent to Nazi camps, including Ravensbrück, the largest concentration camp for women. There, over 130,000 women were imprisoned. Political prisoners, nurses, spies, and mothers. Many were subjected to forced labor and horrific medical experiments. But even there, courage lived on. Women smuggled letters, shared food, and risked their lives to protect others. In secret, they kept the names of the dead so that the world would one day remember them. By 1945, the war was turning. Allied forces were advancing across Europe and the Pacific. In the Philippines, U.S. paratroopers launched a daring rescue mission, the raid at Los Baños. Under cover of darkness, Filipino guerrillas and American troops stormed the camp and freed more than 2,000 civilians and prisoners, including women and children. When the gates opened, the nurses who had once marched as prisoners walked out, thin, weak, but unbroken. They saluted their rescuers and returned home as heroes. Yet few medals were given. Few stories were told. For many years, their courage was forgotten. After the war, these women went home, to hospitals, to classrooms, to families. They carried the weight of memory, the faces they couldn't save, the hunger that never left. Many wrote memoirs. Others stayed silent, carrying invisible scars. But they all shared one truth, that courage isn't found on the battlefield alone. It's found in survival, in compassion, in refusing to give up your humanity, even when the world around you has lost its own. They were not soldiers, but they fought a war all the same. They faced hunger, cruelty, and despair, and met it with faith, friendship, and defiance. Their story is a reminder that heroism wears many faces, and some of them were behind barbed wire. Next time on America Before the War, behind enemy lines, spies, resistance, and the secret war. Subscribe, share, and remember, freedom was paid for not just by those who fought, but by those who endured.